Now we're going to take a look at a question that we did previously using long division. And now we're going to use a process called synthetic division. Now, as the word synthetic implies, synthetic division simulates long division, but it condenses the process. It makes it more efficient. But we're limited with when we can use synthetic division. And that is going to be when our divisor is linear. So in this case here we have x minus 5. This is linear because it's x to the power of 1. If we had x to the power of 2, then we will be excluded from using synthetic division. So let's just remind ourselves what our solution looked like when we were using long division for this particular question. Right here we have the work that we went through when we did the long division. And here we have our quotient and our remainder. You see all of our work off to the side. So now we're going to do the same question. And instead, we're going to use the synthetic division process. So first off, when I use the synthetic division, I like to use my division carriage upside down, flipped. So looking like this. And then in the carriage, you're only going to put the coefficients. So you do want to put a placeholder for any term that's missing. So for x to the 4th, our coefficient is 1. X cubed, we need to put a placeholder of 0. X squared, we're putting negative 24. 1x, x to the 1st power, we're putting negative 6. And then for our constant, we have 5. Now here, for the divisor, we have x minus 5. You want to take the minus 5 and you want to use the opposite. So instead of using minus 5 for your divisor, you're going to use positive 5. And so that is going to factor into the process of, instead of us using addition, instead of us using subtraction during our division, we're going to be using addition because we took the opposite of our divisor. Okay, so now the process goes as such. You're going to bring down the first coefficient, which is 1. Okay, and then you're going to multiply the coefficient at the bottom of the row here by your divisor here of 5. So 1 times 5, you get 5. I'm going to write it here on the second row. Then you're adding. You're adding instead of subtracting because remember we took the opposite. So 0 plus 5, we get 5. Okay, now you're multiplying 5 times 5 and we get 25. Okay, once you multiply, then you add the negative 24 plus the 25 and you get positive 1. Okay, repeating the cycle, multiply 1 times 5 and you get 5. Add the negative 6 to the 5 and you get negative 1. Okay, repeating the cycle, multiply the negative 1 times 5 and you get negative 5. Add 5 and negative 5 and you get 0. Okay, so now to interpret our results here. Starting from the end, 0 represents the remainder. The -1 represents a constant. It does not have a variable. Next, we have the coefficient for x to the first power. We have the coefficient next to it for x squared. And then the next one is the coefficient for x cubed. So our quotient is 1x cubed plus 5x squared plus 1x minus 1. Our remainder is 0. Okay, so if you compare the work that we have here to when we did the long division, we have the same answer. Long division, in this case, does take a little longer, requires more work, you should get the same answer. So on a question like this, it'll be quicker if you use the synthetic division. Let's try another one. So we have 9x cubed minus 9x squared plus 24, all of that divided by x plus 2. Okay, so our dividend, we want to write our coefficients for our dividend and the carriage. So I'm putting 9. And then -9. Now we don't have x to the first power, so put a placeholder of 0. And then for the constant 24, we put 24. Now for your divisor, you're looking at the +2 and you want to take the opposite. All right, so the opposite of +2 is -2. Okay, and the process is bring down the first coefficient of 9. And now you're going through the cycle. Multiply the 9 by your -2, and you get -18. Now you're going to add -9 to the -18, you get -27. Okay, you're repeating the cycle. Multiply the -27 by the -2. That's going to give you +54. Add 0 to 54 and you get 54. Oh, let's get blue. There we go. Okay, let's repeat that cycle. Multiply 54 to -2. So you're going to get -108. And then add 108 to 24. Okay, do that back. There we go. All right, add -108. I'm sorry, subtract -108 and 24 because opposite signs. You're adding them, but subtracting them because the signs are opposite. So I'm gonna show my work off to the side. So we have 4, -84. Okay, now interpretation. -84 is your remainder. Then you have your constant, coefficient for x, coefficient for x squared. All right, so that means our quotient is 9x squared minus 27x plus 54. The remainder is -84, okay? Now, if we want to write our complete answer, okay, we have 9x squared minus 27x plus 54 plus our remainder over, now our divisor was x plus 2. Okay, so you either write the second part as your answer or the first part, depending on what's asked. Remember to check your work. You have your dividend, which is 9x cubed minus 9x squared plus 24 should be equal to your divisor, which was x plus 2, multiplied to your quotient, which is 9. Oh, come on, there we go. 9x squared minus 27x plus 54, and then plus your remainder. Oh, running out of space here. Let's move this over just a little bit. Plus negative 84, or we could just say minus 84, right? So remember, you can do this to check your work. Okay, let's take a look at another example. All right, so this is the setup that is given for certain questions in ALEKS. You are given the question that says, use synthetic division to find the quotient and remainder when x to the fourth minus 12x squared minus 7x plus 3 is divided by x plus 3. Specifically, complete the synthetic division table below and write your answer in the following form. Quotient plus remainder over x plus 3. Okay, so we're given the setup. So we need to make sure we fill in our setup correctly, right? So here we see we're starting with the 1, bring down the 1, then multiply 1. You're multiplying that by the negative 3. So you get negative 3. Add 0 to the negative 3 and you get negative 3. Okay, begin the cycle again. Multiply negative 3 times the negative 3 and you get 9. Add the negative 12 to the 9, so essentially we need to subtract and we end up with negative 3. Start the cycle again. Multiply negative 3 times negative 3 and we have 9. Add 9 to the negative 7 and we have 2. Let's start the cycle again. Multiply the 2 to the negative 3 and we get negative 6. And then add negative 6 to 3, or essentially we have to subtract since they're opposite signs, and we get negative 3. All right, so negative 3, there's our remainder. Two is our constant. Then we have the negative 3 is the coefficient for x, negative 3 is the coefficient for x squared, and then 1 is the coefficient for x cubed. All right, so in this box here, you want to put your quotient. And then in that box there, you put your remainder. So we have x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3x plus 2, and then plus we have negative 3 over x plus 3. All right, let's try another one. Go ahead and pause the video and try that on your own, and then we'll do it together. All right, so again, we are given the setup for the synthetic division. So now we just need to complete the process. So starting with bringing down the -3, and then we multiply the -3 to our +5. -3 times the +5, and you get -15. Add 14 to the -15. Essentially, we need to subtract because they're opposite signs, so we get -1. All right, starting the cycle again, multiply -1 to the 5. So we get -5, add 0 and -5, and we get -5. All right, begin the cycle again. -5 times +5, which is -25. Add 22 and -25, and you get -3. All right. Multiply the -3 to the +5, and we get -15. 15 plus -15 is 0. All right, so we have our remainder is 0. And -3 is a constant. -5 is the coefficient for x, -1 is the coefficient for x squared, and -3 is the coefficient for x cubed. So our quotient is -3x cubed minus 1x squared minus 5x minus 3. And then our remainder is 0.